Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that we're going to talk about on this afternoon is about DeSantis making Florida the first state in the United States to completely outlaw any type of MCC or credit card purchasing code for your firearm rights. Everything is going to be linked in the description box below, and I cannot wait to hear what you guys think about this one because this is a big deal. And if you are new or you're a returning viewer, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel, and making sure you turn that notification bell on. We need as many of you as possible to get into the ranks with us, to spread this information out, and pass the blessing of the Second Amendment along to the next generation. And thank you in advance for your consideration. And the content today is brought to you by AccuFire. Now, AccuFire has the opportunity to give you things that will help you your next day at the range. Maybe things to see a little bit better, help you stay on target a little bit better than if you did not visit that site. So it's worth a check out. Thank you so much to AccuFire for sponsoring this content. And now let's get into this because I cannot wait to hear what you guys think about this one. Because Ron DeSantis, this is what I like to see. So let me give you a little primer if you are not familiar with what has happened with the credit card companies, because we've been on this for about 6 to 8 months on this channel. I've been following it really tight because this is a tremendously important decision. So on the backstory, at a very high level, you had in the fall of last year, you had Democratic senators sending banks and corporations, credit card corporations, letters that say we need new MCC codes or purchasing codes to track firearm purchases and ammo purchases that would be suspicious. Well, those letters ended up at a place called Amalgamated Bank. Amalgamated Bank is a progressive bank which then pressured the International Standards Organization to make this code universal across all corporations, credit card corporations. That was a really big problem. Well, earlier on, the immediate aftermath, we had Senate Republicans write letters in protest, House Republicans write letters in protest, and state attorneys general write letters in protest. Until we actually got enough pressure from the grassroots level, you guys, these companies eventually backed off of it. So they said, you know what, it's not a good idea. Amex, MasterCard, Visa, and then eventually Discover. They all said, in light of the pressure, that's probably not a good idea because Florida was threatening to outlaw any company that would do that. They basically shut down that state if they used those MCC codes. Well, Ron DeSantis has made good on that promise. Listen to what he says here. Again, it's linked if you want to see it, but this is now law in the state of Florida, which, by the way, spoiler alert, that's why I'm moving to Florida. It is official, so if you live in Florida, you're about to have a new neighbor. Let's get it.
So we believe that whole idea of MCCs is very political. We think it's going to be used against people just for exercising their basic constitutional rights. And so you had a movement in the legislature. You had Commissioner Simpson. A lot of people understood this. And I said I'm very supportive of making sure that this is not allowed in the state of Florida. So the second bill we'll sign will prohibit the use of firearm-specific MCC codes. And we'll be the first state in the country to step up to the plate and prohibit these massive financial institutions from collecting data on you, flagging you, just for basically exercising your right.
And that was extremely well said. I'm going to break down a few pieces of what he hit on. One, he is absolutely correct that these credit cards were under political pressure from the Democratic organizations and senators, people like Elizabeth Warren, people like Ed Markey, Chris Murphy, those guys, the far left gun control senators at the top of our federal government, those guys. Well, they pressured these banks. Again, it was all political because even Amalgamated Bank couches themselves as the first progressive bank in the United States. And that's one of their big pushes. If you want progressive causes, you put your money with Amalgamated Bank. And that's out of New York. So shocker, shocker, surprise, surprise. But the other piece that's really important here is what DeSantis has done is he has made Florida the first state to actually make it a law not to be able to do this inside the state borders. This is incredibly important since Florida is one of the biggest tourism states in the United States, if not the biggest. I didn't research which the biggest was. I can just make a pretty educated guess on that. And that's going to cost them billions of dollars if they do it, which makes sense why they backed off. This is important because it speaks to the power that you have as an individual completely walking away and putting a little pressure on these companies. In my personal opinion, it was like a precursor to the whole Bud Light thing, only a little bit more specified. Now, the other piece here is him being the first in the state. That means other states can emulate it. once you start this road, and the first state does it, and the first governor does it, and it draws attention to it, the state attorney generals do it, and the Senate Republicans and Senate House members all draw attention to it, that road has now been closed. They're not going to continue that road because all the pressure has been put on the corporations and they folded. That's a big deal. Props on Ron DeSantis for making this actually law, because now Florida has done constitutional carry and they've outlawed the MCC codes. They've done some other things that are very attractive. They don't have a state income tax, and that's why they are getting this YouTuber heading down there this year. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.